So, trig class, we're going to solve triangles today using just some very basic algebraic techniques. And the first thing we're going to do here is anytime we are asked to solve a triangle, it means you're going to be finding every part that's missing. So in this case, we need to know angle B, we need to know side A, and we need to know side C. Please remember that we name our angles with capital letters and our sides with lowercase letters. First of all, let's go ahead and find angle B. Angle B can easily be found just using the triangle interior angle theorem. Every triangle has an interior angle sum of 180. So 180 minus 90 minus 34.5. 180 minus 90 minus 34.5. There we go. 55.5. So our missing angle B, 55.5. Angle B, 55.5 degrees. Next, let's set up some trig ratios to find A and C. So we can use cosine. The cosine of 34.5, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So the cosine of 34.5 equals the adjacent side 10.5 over C. So from here, we just need to cross multiply and solve for C. So C times cosine 34.5 equals 10.5. Divide by the cosine of 34.5, and we'll have little c. So 10.5 divided by cosine 34.5. So 12.74. C is 12.74 inches. So that's little c. So we've got big B, we've got little c. Now all we need is little a. You can find little a using Pythagorean theorem, or you can quickly just set up another trig function. In this case, I'm going to use opposite over adjacent. That would be tangent. The tangent of 34.5 is equal to a over 10.5. In this case, all we have to do is do a quick cross multiplication. A equals 10.5 times tangent 34.5. A is 7.23. So we've got everything we need. There's A, there's C, there's big B, and everything else was given. We're solving the triangle. Let's do it again. Go a little faster this time. First of all, we have two sides already given in our right triangle. How about let's just use Pythagorean theorem here. So 65 squared equals 30 squared plus b squared. So 65 squared minus 30 squared equals 3325. So 3325 equals b squared. Take the square root of that number, and we get b equals 57.66. So our missing side, 57.66. Now let's find angle A, and anytime that we are missing an angle, we need to utilize an inverse function. So you did learn to do this in trigonometry, so let's get it set up here. We're going after angle A, and I can just use the sine function. The sine of A equals 30 over 65, because sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Now, to undo the sine function, we're going to take the sine inverse of both sides. The sine inverse undoes the sine, so angle A equals sine inverse of 30 over 65. The inverse function is just the second function of your sine key on your calculator. So inverse sine of 30 over 65. Close that parenthesis, and we find that angle A is 27.49 degrees. So if A is 27.49, C is 90, we can quickly find B with the interior angle sum theorem. 180 minus 27.39 minus 90 gives us angle B at 62.51. So angle B, 62.51 degrees. That's everything we need to know. There's B, there's angle A, there's angle B. Next, continuing to use trigonometry to solve for unknowns. So we are going to solve for A and then we'll solve for B. Two different triangles here. Let's focus just on the small triangle down at the bottom and we'll find A. So we're given our, and that should be noted that that's a right angle. We're given this particular angle. This is opposite, this is adjacent. So let's set this up with tangent. The tangent of 31.7 equals opposite over adjacent. This is a quick cross multiplication. A equals 100 times the tangent of 31.7. So 100 times tangent 31.7. That is 61.76. A, 61.76. And we'll let that be feet. Now let's go after B. B is just the whole thing. The whole angle is 76.2. Let's use tangent once again. The tangent of 76.2 equals B, which is the opposite side, over the adjacent, which is 100. Cross multiply again, and we've got B. So that is going to be 100 times tangent 76.2. So 100 times tangent 76.2. Close that parenthesis, and we get B equals 407.13 feet. This is just using trigonometry in order to find missing parts of a triangle. Now, this last one is going to test your algebra skills. This is a great ACT problem. So let's think about this. The first thing I want to do is focus just on this triangle. So if we have this triangle, as it stands, we do not have enough information in order to find anything other than the fact that this top angle is 50. So how do we go about solving for x if this is all we have? Well, let's put in a whole nother variable, and we are totally able to do that. Let's call this particular side right here, let's call it y. So if we're going to allow this side to be y, and my angle in question is 40, then the tangent of 40 is equal to x over y. So if the tangent of 40 equals x over y, if we cross multiply, we see that y times tangent 40 equals x. We have a substitution, a valid substitution for x. Now, if we take a look at the triangle as a whole, we can write another equation. We can say that the tangent of 20 is equal to opposite over adjacent. So this time, the adjacent side is the entirety, the sum of those two segments, which is 400 plus y. Once again, we can cross multiply and we can solve for x. So x equals the tangent of 20 times 400 plus y. So again, we have a value for x. Now what we learned in geometry is that x is equal to x by the reflexive property. And if x is equal to x, then we can make an equivalent substitution. Well, x is y tangent 40. And x is also tangent 20 times 400 plus y. That is all by the property of substitution. So from here, this turns into an algebra problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is start solving for y. So the first thing, I'm going to divide both sides by tangent 40. Cancel, cancel. So now I have y all by itself on the left. On the right, I'm going to get an approximation for tangent 20 over tangent 40. So here goes. So tangent 20 divided by tangent 40. And that approximation is 0.4338. And that is what we'll distribute through the second set of parentheses. So next we're going to use the distributive property. A handy calculator here. So here we go. 0.4338 times 400. So that will be 173.52 plus 0.4338y. Now we're just using basic algebra. It's just a little bit messy. So we're going to subtract this 0.4338 from both sides. Remember there's a 1 over there. So 1 minus 0.4338 leaves us 0.5662. 0.5662y equals 173.52. So now we just have one last division, 173.52 divided by 0.5662. That gives us a y value of 306.46. So that's our y. Now, we're not done because we still need to find x. But remember, x equals y times tangent of 40. And our y value is 306.46. So let me just go ahead and write that in right here, 306.46. So there's our y value. And then let's plug it in right here. 306.46 times tangent of 40 is equal to x. Back to our calculator. 306 is already in my calculator times tangent of 40. And we get our x value. X equals 257.15. There's our x and there's our y.